Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Maverick Med. And on the show, we have with us Dr. Ola Van Steen. Hello.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me, Hannah.
Thank you. And a little bit told me that you are not in the UK today. So whereabouts are you and what time is it?
I have come over to Holland. So I am going to be celebrating Christmas with my husband's family, with my husband, obviously, husband's family. We're over here in Holland, and the time difference is only an hour with the UK.
All right.
Not massive, so it's like 12 p.m. here for me.
Good. And for those of you who don't know, I've never heard about him, Dr. Ola. Is it okay if I called you that?
Absolutely. No, call me
Right.
Ola.
Ola. Good. So Ola is a former NHS consultant who has now fully replaced her career with travel. And not just that, she actually teaches other people how to do that. Right, Ola. You tell me, what do you do and why do you do it?
Oh, thank you so much. So I'm a doctor, consultant turned entrepreneur. I have started this following a journey of myself, journey of, so to speak, self-discovery, but also a journey of burnout when I realized that there are options beyond medicine and I wanted to explore those because I didn't want to continue living my life in the, so to speak, 9 to 5, which isn't quite the 9 to 5, right? It's more of a 5 to 9 every single day of the week. And I was like, I don't want my life to pass me by. I want to actually live it. And that's when I started to look for opportunities and for options. And that's how I came across travel and how I can actually monetize it. And I decided to start it initially as a side hustle and see where it would take me. But little did I know that within 3 years, it would replace my full-time income. Here I am, full-time travel entrepreneur. It's actually going to be my 2-year anniversary in like
Wow.
2 weeks of being out of
Oh,
the
wow.
NHS.
Wow. Well, I should be sad because we've lost you, Azente, but I'm really excited about your journey. So take me all the way backward. At what point did you realize you wanted to do medicine?
I'm going to actually let you on into a secret here, Hannah.
Tell me.
I didn't want to be in medicine.
Oh, no.
I don't think I've mentioned this before, and it's not something that I mention it a lot.
Right. So thanks for sharing it with us.
There you go. You've got exclusive
Absolutely.
insight.
Yeah.
I never realized, I never had that moment where I wanted to be a doctor. So I'm from the Middle East
Right.
family. My mom always wanted to be a doctor. She couldn't due to circumstances at that time. So then when I was the girl and I was the one that had the grades that would get me into medicine, she wanted me to become a doctor. So I really went into medicine to fulfill my mom's dream, which, you
Wow.
know, it's quite a privilege to be able to do that and to give her that kind of like sense of fulfillment, so to speak, to see it happening through me. But it wasn't something that I wanted. I actually, when I finished high school, I wanted to either become a dentist or a lawyer, but I couldn't quite decide on which one to do. And then my mom wanted me to be a doctor, so there I was applying for medical school.
So like the proverbial or like the very trite African Asian family where you are either a doctor or a failure, you weren't a failure.
Yes, exactly. I mean, like in our culture, quite true, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're a doctor or nothing, or
Lawyer,
like
engineer, or a failure.
engineer. Exactly. Or you're a complete failure. You're a complete write-off out of the family and out of the whole inheritance and will and all of that. And you had to be one of those things. And I think there's a big generation that grew up having to fulfill that. And yeah, so that was me going into medical school. Although I did really well, and this is one of the things that my mom kept on telling me, and also people around me kept on telling me throughout medical school. They were like, "Oh, you're meant to be a doctor because like you're doing so well." And I'm like, I'm pretty sure like if you put me into anything, I'll do well. I think it's like more of a personality trait rather than it's like I love medicine.
Absolutely.
Um, kind of thing. But yeah,
Yeah.
I did very well in medicine. Like my grades were really good. I was almost always top of my class. And then yeah, and then when I graduated, it just so happened that at that time it was the war in my country, and then that forced me to immigrate and kind of like look for other options.
Right. So take us on a little journey. I know it might not be very pleasant. So it's been wartime. You've had to relocate from Iraq.
Correct.
Yes. And what happened? Where did you find yourself then?
Well, we had to immigrate from Iraq. I briefly went up to the north of Iraq, so that's
Hmm.
Kurdistan, which is kind of like it's almost like a federal state, so to speak.
Right.
So politically, it was a different area. So that was kind of like I had to move house,
Yeah.
and I completed like my final year of medical school. But then circumstances prevailed, and I had to leave the country altogether. So again, I moved to Dubai, where my family had relocated.
Hmm.
So that's kind of like relocation number two, because of the
Gosh.
war. And that's where I found myself like, right, my options are very limited here. I don't really know people. I've graduated, but I don't really have the documents of me graduating. And I'm in that crossroads of, I don't know what to do next, but I've got a medical degree.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of like immigration number two. I stayed in Dubai for a little over a year. I did some medical training there.
Yeah.
Then I immigrated again to Lebanon,
So
where I
that's the
continued.
third one.
That's the third
Oh
one.
my
So
word.
I continued 3 years of medical training there in Lebanon, and then I immigrated again to the UK. So that was when I came for my registrar job. I almost immigrated again to Canada, but I didn't do that. I almost, but I was like, nope, we're not doing that.
I think because you had been there, done that, because you've more or less, because for most international medical graduates, which is what primarily this podcast is for, inspiring international medical graduates, one story at a time, we say. Sometimes even the whole thought of making the first move can be right daunting. But for you, you didn't have a choice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no. I literally did not have a choice. Like
Yeah.
when I was back home in Iraq,
Hmm.
it was a war, and it was bombs, rifles, guns. You had to leave. So I did my first move, and then the second move out to Dubai. And then when I was in Dubai, and then subsequently Lebanon, the immigration was more of for a career aspiration
Yeah.
perspective. But still, if I had stayed there, I would have been stuck in a career grade that I didn't want to have. So again, it wasn't like a choice. It was more of like I had to make that move.
Tell me, Ola. So at this moment, we'll be quite aware about the recent unsettlement. So, for instance, if we had this lady from Syria or any other war-torn country who has relocated and has come to the United Kingdom as a registrar, take me back to your time. What was it like when you started? Because for you, you weren't quite straight from Iraq. You had traveled a bit and you speak really good English. But
Yeah, yeah.
irrespective, what was your experience?
It was still very, very hard. It was very difficult.
Mm,
And I always say these days, if anybody is coming as an IMG, like straight to the UK, reach out, like, find other people like you, find other
mhm.
IMGs. I'm always happy, like, people pop into my inbox. I'm always happy to help or give advice and guidance, or even if it's just someone that would listen, because for
Yeah.
me, it was really difficult. Like I've traveled a lot. I've been to England before. My
Yeah.
English is quite good. But still, when I came to England, like the first time, the first couple of weeks, the first couple of months, very difficult because the accent is different. So most of the time, I'm spending a lot of brain energy trying to understand what people are actually saying to me, let alone for me to formulate a reply for it. Like that's the basic thing that a lot of people go like, oh, what's wrong with you?
Yep. 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 And when you live outside the UK, there is this thing that they say, oh, something is a British accent. Are you there, Ola? Did I lose you briefly?
Oh, sorry about that. I'm not sure what happened. It was telling me to refresh.
Oops, maybe internet issues. Right.
Okay, we're
So
back.
I was just saying that, when you were outside the UK, there's something like, oh, a British accent. But then when you get into the UK, you're like, no, no. People in the Northwest speak differently. Those in the North, oh, the Yorkshire, oh, that is really difficult. And when someone is speaking to you and it's taking you time to take it in, they think, oh, is she thick? No, I'm not. I don't understand what you're saying.
Exactly, and it's one of those things that you go like, I'm quite good at what I do. Like, I know I've got the grades, I've got I'm like in my home country, and we see it a lot, isn't it? We see a lot of
Absolutely.
IMGs who come over to the UK. They're top of their class. They're really good at what they do.
Yep.
Like I was speaking to someone the other day. He was like, "I'm a consultant in my own country, but I've come to the UK for a training job because I wanted to get the CCT." And he just that feeling of like you've been demoted, and people start talking to you at a different level, as if like you like, are you thick? What's wrong with you? And I'm like,
Yes.
nothing is wrong with me. It's just that everything here is different. The culture, the shops, the food, the community, and then obviously if someone is immigrating and they've got kids, now they've got this whole issue of trying to integrate the kids into this whole new culture, and then people expect you to
Getting a
be,
driver's license.
oh my god, oh my that was just,
It's nightmarish. So there's a lot of subliminal things going on, a lot of things that would influence the daily life of an IMG. On the other hand, if you were probably born and bred here, it's life as usual.
yep,
But no, they have all these things that we don't speak about. So
yeah.
I'm not going to take away from your story. Tell me what your experience was.
Oh, right. So imagine this. You get planted into North Manchester, into Manchester, northern part of Manchester. So the accent is very different when they're speaking English. You get planted in a hospital that doesn't have a lot of people looking like you or sounding
Mm,
like you or coming from
mm,
places of where you came from, and your background is in medicine, so you've trained in seeing medical patients, but now you're on a training program for intensive care, and they put you into theatres.
oh
Your
dear.
ID badge reads ST3 anesthetics, but you're actually an ST3 in intensive care, but now you're doing an anesthetic rotation. So
Quite
you can
conflicting,
see
isn't it?
exactly, you can see already how people's perceptions would be like. And yeah, you kind of like put into theatre, and you're standing there in theatre waiting for a consultant to come round to kind of like, or someone to come round and give you an orientation. But then people walk in and they go like, oh, you're the ST3 in anesthetics, we've got this person that needs to go to theatre. And I'm like, I can't even understand what you just said to
Oh
me, let alone
dear.
your expectations of responsibility.
Mm,
And then it starts to build up because not everybody is like understanding that this person has immigrated country, that all of this is new, that they don't
Wait a
know.
minute. And which year are you talking about? Because
That
we
was
are in
20,
2020.
yeah,
So,
that was 2012.
oh my days.
That was 2012.
Where did the time go?
Exactly. Where did the time go? I was talking to someone yesterday and I was saying, well, happy new year, happy, like, wishing you a
Yeah.
great, like, start to 2025 when it comes, if I
Yeah.
don't speak to you. And then it dawned on me that I realized that it's going to be 25 years since I've actually gone to medical school, because I
Oh
went into the year
days.
2000, and then
You
it's going
know,
to be
when
25.
you saw people and they said they were 20 years out of medical school, you're thinking, oh my God, that's proper grandpa. That's you now.
That's me. I'm like, oh my God, you're a dinosaur.
Yes. That's you now. Gosh.
That's
Yeah.
me.
But
That's
but
me
for,
now.
for those who are not watching, she still has the looks though. So
Oh, thank you. You're too kind. You're too kind.
right. So tell me, how did you rise above this situation and navigate it?
You're gonna have to find um, people who help you, and you're gonna have to lean on something bigger than you. For me, it was leaning on faith. Like, I do believe in God, and I was just like, taking that, if someone doesn't believe, then you've got your spirituality, something that you can lean on. There is something bigger. I was believing that there's a bigger purpose for me to be here, there's a bigger reason for me to be here. I was keeping telling myself that faith is going to get me through it, and it did. And also at the same time, when you have that, you're going to have to start, people are going to come your way.
So you need a support system. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Hmm. True. Hmm. 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 Oh. Hmm. Hmm. Greater things are definitely waiting for you at the other side, and you see how you've come through. So tell me, did you ever at any point wear the headscarf? Tell us about your experience. Mm. Hmm. Hmm. Normal for everybody. Yeah. Mm. Oh dear. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Have a datex. It's your identity. It's who you are. Mm. Mm. Hmm. Infection prevention. So finding your inner strength. Yes. Well, yeah, it's not going to come on a silver platter. You have to definitely learn to speak up. You have to learn to use your voice. So, at what point did you decide that medicine is not the only thing for me? I need to spice up my life. I need to get family, something going. Tell me a little bit of that if you're comfortable. Hmm. Oh, yeah. And you're trying to prove a point. You're trying to be Miss Goody Two Shoes. It's like, oh, look, I'm worthy of this position you've given me. Absolutely. I actually ever had someone ask me at that time, I was a young single lady, and I said, work closes at 5, I need to go. And she said, what are you going home to do? And I said, is that a question? She said, well, don't be offended. I said, I am, but never mind. It's like, what are you going home to? Like, how dare you? What do you mean by what am I going? What business of it is yours? But these are some of the subtle things that we need to deal with in an everyday life as an IMG. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. My life. Mm-hmm. 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 Travel and travel time, because no one factors in travel time, the inconvenience. So if you have 14 annual and 14 days, you're probably having 12 days because you're using one full day to travel, one full day to come back, no time to recuperate or anything like that. We don't really factor those things in. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right.
Hey, it just told me again that it was not recorded, so I don't know, and it flashed up for me. Um,
I think Riverside is being a bit naughty today. Not to worry, I'll have
maybe.
a quick edit after that. Right. So
Okay.
you were saying that you felt like you needed to go out, but you didn't know quite where to. And
Exactly, yeah.
is that where
So,
Prince Charming came in to give you a hand?
oh my days. So this is one of the things that I say to kind of like especially single ladies. I'm like, not only travel can make you money, but also it can give you a husband. So
Ooh.
in that,
I should have heard that earlier. Too late now.
maybe that could be a subtitle, right? So I was in this phase trying to figure out what to do.
Mhm,
Ironically, I took time out between being a registrar and like signing on to my consultant job,
mhm.
starting my consulting job. I took time to go out and travel and trying to discover and explore what is it that I can do. um, and ironically, for those 5 months that I was traveling, I didn't figure it out. I didn't know. I just knew that I don't want to do pharma. I don't want to do research. Don't want to do the traditional things that doctors tend to move into. They just were not calling me.
Yeah.
They didn't give freedom and flexibility. And
Mhm.
throughout me traveling, that's when I met my husband. So I was going to be like, oh, good 6 years ago now.
Oh,
And we just came across each other. I was solo traveling in Spain. He was solo traveling as well. And we met, and it was just amazing chemistry. But then, yeah, we started to travel together across the world. So it was like, we were dating in Spain, and then we were dating in Croatia, and then we were dating in Prague, and all of these beautiful
it
places.
sounds really exotic, mouth watering, exciting. I'm a food person, so when you mention these countries, I just start thinking about food.
Yes. I always say, like, I eat my way around the world. So
Oh,
here I
wow.
am traveling for a bit. I meet Prince Charming. Now, at the time, I didn't know what's going to happen next. It was just more of someone that I can relate to, talk to. Chemistry is great.
Yeah.
Not sure anything more is going to come out of it. So I kind of like, I didn't have expectations of that
And he spoke
relationship.
English. That was a plus for you then, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a massive plus. His English is so good because honestly, we would not been able to date through Dutch. Like, I can't. Like learning languages is not, I mean, like I speak English, obviously. Arabic is my mother tongue. I have
Hmm.
learned French throughout school,
Yeah.
and so I have those. But then picking up a new language is very difficult for me now, or probably it's a mindset thing. And
I
like when
doubt it. Yeah.
we
I think you can do anything. Trust me, Ola. I
exactly,
think
yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
you can do anything.
But even like, when we go into new countries, he's
Hmm.
always the one that is learning the phrases and like, the thank yous and the please and how much does this cost and I want to order
Yeah.
this. He's always the one that is doing that. And I'm the one that's like, if they don't speak English, I'm not buying.
Oh gosh. When did you become like this, miss?
Exactly. So yeah, he spoke really good English. So there we are traveling. I'm getting to see him through all of these trips, and I'm like still thinking, what is it that I need to do? What is it that I'm going to do next? And then I go on a group holiday,
Hmm.
and my friend actually convinces me to do it because I'm just not the group holiday kind of person. And my friend convinces me to do it, and I go like, okay, let's do this. I went on it, came back so livid
Oh
because
no.
like this is just one of the worst group holidays that I could have ever imagined. And I'm
Hmm.
like, when people are paying money, they deserve a really good quality holiday. They deserve
Yeah.
good service. And I
Yeah.
was so mad because it was just so misorganized that I came back thinking I can do a better job than that.
Hmm.
I can definitely do a better job. So that was the seed was born in my head. I was like, okay, I know what I want to do next, but now it's just a matter of me figuring out how can I make money from it as well, like
Hmm.
and make it really profitable and scalable. So that's when I started to search for options. How can I make money from travel? And then I landed on the business opportunity that I'm doing at the moment, and which allowed me, gave me all of the tools, gave me the skills, gave me the knowledge, empowered me with the community, and here we are.
So tell us a bit more about this business. I mean, from consultant to a full-time entrepreneur. Tell us.
Yeah. Um, I'm going to have to caveat this, and I'm going to have to say it like, or kind of like stress on it, is that I did not have a business mind starting this. And it was more of starting like a passion project, so to speak. And the fact that I like travel, let me see how this is going to go on. Because I think a lot of medics hold themselves back, maybe especially IMGs, because they
Oh,
go like,
yeah.
well, I've come here for this job and this is all that I know to do. And actually, you have unlimited potential. You have a lot of options, and the skills that you've got in medicine make great transferable skills for you to take them into business.
Preach.
Thank you. So and it took me a while to realize that, to be honest, because I started looking at it from a perspective of I'll book my travel, I'll book travel for other people. So I set myself up in partnership with a company. The company is a host agency, set myself up as in a partnership with them that I can become an online travel agent. So anybody who works with me will have access to the same tools, whereby you get a travel booking platform, you get access for training, for business training, and you're able to book travel and earn commission back from it. So for
Wow.
me, I was like, this is great. I'm going on generic booking engines anyway. I'm booking
Yeah.
travel anyways. People around me are doing that anyways. This is a great tool for me to create extra income. And then who knows what's going to come out of it? Well, let me give you a plot twist, Hannah, because just after I started, guess what happened in 2020? The pandemic.
Oh.
And that's when probably a lot of people would have gone, that's it. It's not going to work.
Yeah, it's not weird, but the universe doesn't want me
Exactly.
to.
The universe doesn't want me to do this. But I think because I've spent quite a big chunk of time trying to figure out what it is that I'm going to do next, and the way that this has come to me, and also the fact that the investment is very low, so you can get started for less than £200, which
Okay.
is not something to write about or to worry about, because you get a lot back in especially with the guarantees being in place. So I was like, you know what, I'm not bothered that there's a pandemic. Actually, there might be a silver lining to this, because when it was the pandemic, when there was social isolation, I took the opportunity to connect with people who are in the business community. So it gave me something to do when I'm going back home and I can't be in contact with other people. It also gave me hope for the future, being able to look at these beautiful travel destinations and just kind of like daydream about them for my future travels.
Hold on.
And
Were you still a consultant during the pandemic? So were you still on
yeah,
intensive care and acute medicine? Oh dear, it
yeah.
must have
So
been
I
hard.
had taken up the job because when I went through this phase of traveling, trying to figure out what the answer is, I obviously spent all of my savings money because I had, locumed, like we were talking
Yeah,
before, the
yeah.
IMG that takes all the locum shifts that nobody
Yes.
else wants to take, right? So locumed, had some money in the bank, went traveling, trying to figure out what I wanted to do, spent all of that money, still hadn't figured it out, came back, took the consultant job.
Right.
Kept on searching, found the travel opportunity. So here I was working as an intensive care acute medicine consultant, and also having the side passion project of having a travel business. We go into lockdown, it's COVID. That was the scene. So my day was, or even my night or my weekends was, I would go on shift. I'm working. We had to work a lot of extra hours during that time.
I
So
bet.
I'm working in the hospital, spending my time with the like on the unit, seeing the COVID patients. And I think this is another factor really that kind of like played into the success that I had, because I was going to work, I was seeing how people half my age die of a disease that we just could not control or stop at that time. Like at best we could manage. And I was like, well, where is my life going? Like,
Carpe diem. Just
Yes.
live in the moment, enjoy the moment. If you're an IMG listening to us, please don't procrastinate. Don't leave it for another day. I always say this because it's taken me 6 years to finally start this podcast. I was like, oh, am I good enough? Am I sure? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Seize the moment.
Just start, because when you start, other doors are going to open, other people are going to come your way, opportunities, it's just going to happen. But if you sit and kind of like keep on thinking about it, nothing is going to move. So for me, that was another thing of like, life is too short for me to spend it just thinking about something. I found this opportunity, it's come my way, I'm just going to start,
Just
and
do it.
I'm going to keep on going with it. So yeah, I was going on shift. And I say this like, and I was not only time broke, but I was time poor. Sorry, I was time broke. Like literally on paper, if you look at me, consultant working during COVID time in the NHS, there was no time to start a business. There was
Yeah.
no time to do anything else.
You could have actually gone to work, come back and just mope about the day, just be really sad about, oh gosh, just sad. And then just cover yourself and sleep and go back the following day.
Yeah, and a lot of people would pat me on the back and go like, yeah, yeah,
It's a
yeah, of
hard
course,
time.
yeah, yeah, it's hard to, have to look after yourself and all of that. But actually, the best way that I looked after myself is by starting the business, because it shifted my mindset. It shifted my thinking from crisis into opportunity, from doom and gloom into hope, into the future, from being isolated to having a community of people around me. And that was kind of like, I was like positive Polly. Like when I would go to work, when I'd go
Did
to
you go with a
work,
little flower in your hair?
and I'm like such beaming and positive and talking about
Ooh,
travel and talking about all of these amazing
travel?
things I'm going to do. And people would just look at me at work and go like, what's
What is she
wrong? Like,
high on?
what are you taking? Because this is not normal, right?
Absolutely, certainly doesn't sound normal to me. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
Wow.
it is what I did, and like you were saying, it's just taking that step and just starting, and then let the rest unfold. So then, when we came out of the pandemic, I was actually the one who had the business knowledge now, who had
Mm-hmm.
the practice, who had gone on the platform and trained like took on the training. So I know now how to book holidays. So then I started booking holidays for myself. I started booking for my friends, and people were like, "Oh, how are you managing to do this and make money from it?" I think that was the thing for people, is that, well, we're booking travel, but we're not making money from it. So then I was like, "Well, let me show you. Let me give you how you can do this, because now I've got a success formula. I've got like, I know what to do inside this business in the
Yeah.
least amount of time to give you the highest amount of reward." So that's when I started to take on people to coach and mentor.
Wow. Wow. Congratulations. But you haven't mentioned to us the name of it, so that I can drop the link below. Anybody who is interested will be able to. So what's it called? Yep, definitely, definitely. We should be able to support our own, isn't it? So you know where to book your next holiday. Yeah. And if anybody wants to sign up to be an organizer, or do you have the support for them as well? Oh, just in time. Yeah. As would you say it's time intense? Does it take a lot of your time for to run this business? Hmm. Right. So let's create a hypothetical. I have a GPST2. She's working full time and she's thinking, I could do with an extra stream of income. Is it possible? She's working 40 hours a week. Just an hour. Guys, what are we waiting for? It's just an hour a day. It's an hour flicking through Netflix, an hour watching YouTube videos, it's an hour watching things you don't even like. So, mhm, mhm, absolutely. Mhm, mhm, mhm. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. It sounds really exciting. Mhm. It sounds better than the fire movement, isn't it? Because the fire movement takes 10 years. So if you have to retire, financial independence, retire early, and everybody's talking about, oh, give yourself a 10 years, but and this is a whooping 18, but a year and a half. Wow. That is not intense. And it just fizzles out. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. 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 And that's my keyword for next year, actually. So I usually would pick a theme for a year and run with it. And this year I was a bit on ikigai, I was thinking about purpose and all that. And I think for next year, it's consistency for me. So I very much resonate with what you're saying about being consistent. Right, Ola. I've got a few cheeky questions to ask you and then we round this up. So tell me, what is one belief or behavior that you believe has positively impacted in your life? If there's just one thing. Hmm. Hmm. Wow. 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 And interesting, talking about learning, the next question says that what's the most valuable lesson that you've learned in the last year and why? Hmm. Wow. And perspective, perspective. Hmm. Yeah. Hmm. 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 I've never thought about it that way. That you have 100% track record of success. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I thought I was cheeky, but I think you beat me to it. Right, finally, Ola, what is your rich life? Mm. Yes. Mm. Mm-hmm. It sounds very rich. It has been a very interesting conversation with you. I've thoroughly enjoyed myself. It's been very easy and I have learned a lot. Thank you so much, Dr. Ola Van Steen. Have I butchered your name? Oh, no, I've not butchered it then. That's good. Former NHS consultant, now full-time travel consultant. I'm going to leave the link to her company below so that if you want to sign up either as a trainee or as a client, you can get in touch with her. Thank you so much for your time. Absolutely. Bye for now.